Hi guys, hi, hello, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing a cream blush bazaar with you. I'm going to go through all of my blushes that I have in cream or liquid form, and we're going to talk about them, and I hope that that sounds like something that you're interested in. This isn't starting out as a declutter, but maybe, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it will be. I just wanted to go through my collection with you all, and I thought that going through my cream blushes and then maybe my cream bronzers and my cream and liquid highlights also would be fun videos to have out here on the platform, and I wanted to start with blushes. I hope that that sounds like something that you're interested in. For those of you that are new here, are thinking about subscribing, whatever it is. My name is Donna. I am a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care. I also work in the beauty industry as a district leader for Ulta, so I get a lot of education in the position that I'm in. And I like to bring you that education through things like blush bazaars or project pans or palette reviews, which I do every single week on my channel. I also just kind of like to talk about makeup. I hope that you also like to talk about makeup, and if you're here, that tells me you kind of do. So I hope at the end of it, you'll want to subscribe before you go. We would love to welcome you into this channel. Let me know in the comments if you do subscribe. I would love to welcome you personally. And with that said, let's roll into this blush bazaar, cream blush bazaar video. All right, guys, so I have several here. I have 13, I think, cream and liquid blushes in my collection. I didn't start purchasing cream blushes until last year. So the fact that I currently have 13 in my collection is a little bit alarming to me. I do have one in my collection currently that I won't be talking about except to tell you what it is and its price point, because I don't know much about it because I haven't used it yet, because I got it in my Beautylish Lucky Bag this year. This is called the Serat Artistique Liquid Blush, and it is in the shade Classique. Now, I've heard that this is a beautiful blush. I've also heard that it doesn't last very long. I've heard all kinds of things about it. I haven't used it yet. As you guys can see, I just kind of twisted the bottom to get some of the blush to pop out the top. That's it. That's it. Just enough to swatch it to show you what it looks like. It looks very, very pink. It is in my Shop My Stash rotation. I know that when I did the Shop My Stash, you guys got to see all of my liquid or my cream blushes sitting out on my table. I had filmed this video prior to filming that one, but I went to edit it the other day and it was not great quality, so I thought I would re-record it for you guys. So this is the only one that I have not used. Again, that one is Serat. That is a $45 price point. I can't really speak much to it, so just going to show you what it is, give you the price point, put it away. The rest of these I have used, every single one of them, and I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts on them. Now, I do have 2 of the Ritual Defy blushes and 2 of the Fenty blushes. I will be talking about both of those as one unit, but I will be swatching both for you of those certain blushes. But I have it all written down, pros and cons of each one for you, and we're going to do some swatching. I'm going to hope that I can do the swatching in a fashion that looks, you know, YouTube-ish instead of stupid, because I'm a horrible swatcher. I'm the worst, but let's jump into this. The first one I have is this one. It is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush in Sweet Innocence. So for pros for this one, I have a very tiny bit, goes a very, very long way. And I do feel like that's 100% true of this. It is pretty long lasting, I would say, for a blush that costs less than $12. There's a lot of it in here as well. You get 0.5 fluid ounces or 15 mLs for this, which is a decent amount. It has a dewy finish, and it's great for those that really don't want to wear more than one cheek product. So if you just want to do a blush, no highlight, you've got it in the bag. This is a very, very shimmery blush. It's got great skin ingredients with hyaluronic acid in it, so it's going to pull in the moisture from the air, and it's cruelty free. And it goes on with a dewy finish without really feeling tacky or balmy. So like your hair isn't going to stick to it, right? The con to this is it is very, very glittery. And to be honest, it does not blend very well. I feel like it's very, very patchy. And I feel like the consistency of it kind of lends to that a little bit. Here you can see it on my skin. And then as I like blend it out, I hope that you guys will be able to see just the sheer glitteriness of this. Like putting this on my skin, and maybe you can see it on my finger too. Just the sheer putting this on my skin, I looked like a disco ball. Did pull it in to my Shop My Stash rotation for a second time because I haven't 100% decided on if I'm going to keep this or not. It is really, really pretty, but it is just so shimmery that I just am not sure that I can do it. It's not sheer enough that it can be a highlighter in my collection either. So it either has to work as a shimmery blush or it can't work at all for me. The next one I have is this one. This is the Wander Beauty Lip and Cheek Duo. This one is in Sweet Talker. They're just two balms. One is a clear balm and one is a, you know, corally balm. And I think that all of these are made for your lips, cheeks, and eyes. So you can wear any of these on your face anywhere you want to. But what I will say is this one obviously isn't meant for your cheeks, right? What on God's green earth would you do with a clear balm on your cheeks? It's not super hard to mess with. It's just a clear balm. So the pros I have for this is that it's clean beauty. That's amazing. It's got good for your skin ingredients, and that its pigment is good. So its pigment on this coral one is really good. I think that you guys can see it's got a really nice pigmentation to it. It looks really natural. It blends out really, really nicely. I didn't have any problems blending it with my fingers, with a brush, or with a sponge. It also has a mirror on the bottom section with the clear balm, so you can use it in your purse for on the go. It also has zero shimmer in it, so it kind of mattifies down. It looks real matte on your skin. The cons are that it stays pretty balmy on your cheeks. So if your hair flies in your face at all, your hair is going to stick to it on your cheeks as long as it's lasting on your cheeks. And as a lip gloss, even though it says it's hydrating formula, it's not. It dried out my lips so bad when I used this. The shade up here is actually a really nice shade on my lips as well, but it dried out my lips so bad. And if it's drying out my lips, I have to wonder if it's also drying out my cheeks. And the wear time on this, and I think it's a lot of it is because it stays so like tacky, so minimal. It's like two hours, maybe 3 hours tops. So I would say that this is, I mean, a good decent sized product. You're getting 2 products at 0.07 ounces, which actually is not a whole lot of product in here, but you're getting 2 products for $22. I still don't think that that's necessarily a great price for it, because I can get 2 eyeshadows that are approximately the same weight for like $6 a piece. So way less than this cost. I also have heard that this packaging is not fantastic, and I do feel like it feels really cheap, like it could break really easily if you put it in your bag or whatnot. So when it comes to on the go ability, I 100% believe that this packaging would fall apart. I'm not 100% sure that I think that that one is worth it. The next one I have on here is this one, and it is the LYS Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush. I have the one in the shade Kindness, which is very reminiscent of that one from Wander Beauty. This one is $16 and you get a ton of product in here. It has 0.23 ounces of product, or 6.5 grams, which is a ton of product. It is vegan. It is huge. And it has a very nice satin finish. The one thing I would say about this is that you have to warm it up in your hands, unlike the Wander Beauty one that was good to go from the second I stuck my finger in it, right? It looks very natural on your skin and it doesn't stay sticky. It's also really buildable without getting kind of gummy. I feel like it shears out really, really well, and its wear time is actually pretty fantastic for the most part. If you consider all day like a 4 to 6 hour day, I think that you're going to get a good share of wear time out of this product. I have to have my makeup last me for a good probably 10 to 12 hours. So when I say a good wear time, that's like half of my day. A great wear time for me is going to be an all day wear, which is going to be 8 to 10 hours. I didn't find that this went anywhere. And just to put it into perspective, I do have very dry skin for the most part, but my cheeks like to eat products. So like this morning I put on a blush, a bronzer, a highlight, and you can barely see it, and it's been on my face for about 4 hours at this point in time. So this one has a decent wear time. I think it goes well with just about anything. It has a very natural look and appearance on your skin, and it mattifies. It dries down really nicely and doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't create that dewy stickiness that some cream blushes do. I do think though that these two are similar enough that I could probably get rid of that Wander one without thinking twice about it. You know, I'm going to go through this one real quick because I forgot to put it on my paper as far as pros and cons go. But this one is by Milk Makeup, and it is their lip and cheek tint in Work. This is in my project pan, which is the reason why I forgot to add it into what I'm going through right now. But this is what that one looks like, and it is just, it's a stick, and it comes in a stick full size. I do believe this one, which is their travel size or their mini, was $15. A pro for this one is that it has also a really nice natural finish. It blends out really easily. I actually found myself falling in love with this blush right after receiving it. It's not a bad blush. It does mattify quite nicely. It doesn't remain sticky. It blends out really well. As far as a con goes for this one, I do think its wear time is a little less than about 4 hours on my skin, so that would be a con for me. Another con for me, honestly, is that the packaging of this guy specifically is awful. Sometimes when you roll it up, you can't roll it back down, and then you have to push on the top of the product as you're rolling it down, which can be just stupid. This lid is the second lid I've had. I was good enough that I had a couple other products in the same like size from Milk Makeup that I had to take the lid off of one of the other products in order to have a lid for that blush. I really do like the blush. I feel like it's got a good wear time, but I feel like the packaging is just dumb. And I also feel like even though it mattifies down, it does have a little bit of tackiness to it, but not like a balmy tackiness to it. Not like, you know, some of these like this and the Milk Makeup one or the Wander Beauty one. This one has like a little bit of tackiness to it, but not a lot. I do feel like this one also kind of moves around, which you can see as I just tried to blend more out on my arm, how it just kind of voided in that one spot. I do feel like it moves around the more you touch it, and it also moves around any kind of like powders or other makeup underneath it. So it's a very good blush to use for that one and done kind of mindset, or the no makeup looks. Like if you're just using a blush and a concealer for the day, it's probably a good product to use. But if you have anything else underneath it, it kind of it kind of messes with it. I don't really love that for that reason. The next ones that I have to talk about are the Ritual Defeat. So I have two by Ritual Defeat. I have this one in Desire, which is kind of a dusty mauve shade. And then I have this one in Lovesick, which is more of a like a red. Now they look very, very similar, but they're not. So I'm going to do first the one in Desire. You have to warm these ones up quite a bit. You see how I got all shiny glossy in there, but for the most part, it's really not shiny glossy. So this one is Desire. That's what that one looks like. And then this one, you see how it's flat? You really have to warm them up. Otherwise, they're kind of chunky, and that's, I think, a con for these guys. See how glossy it gets? These ones you have to warm up with your finger before you go in with any kind of like apparatus to apply. This one is Lovesick. See, one's definitely more pink. One's definitely more mauve. I think that these ones are some of my favorite cream blushes, even though they're kind of a pain in the ass to use because you really do have to warm them up to get them to be malleable to apply with, say, a sponge, and they really do apply best with a sponge or a brush than they do with your fingers. Even though you have to really warm them up to get them there, I would say that once you get them there, they are very, very nice. They mattify completely, but look very natural and radiant on your skin. They have a wonderful pigmentation, and they blend out so, so well. They are not sticky whatsoever, so they don't have any kind of like balminess to them. And once they're on your skin, once they're dried down, they're pretty much immovable. They do not move around on your face. They don't pick up product underneath. There's no shimmer. They're really long lasting for, I would say they are an easy 8-hour wear time. For me, the cons are that they are really hard to the touch. So if you sit down to do makeup, stick this underneath your bum or in between your legs to really warm it up before you use it. If you don't, like I stand to do my makeup, means you really have to put your fingers into it, put your body heat into it in order to make it malleable enough to go onto your skin without it looking patchy. When they're hard to the touch like that and you have to warm them up, this translates to them not being super blendable for many, many people, because if they're not warmed up, if they're not shiny like they were in that, then they will not blend on your skin. It's really hard to work with them unless you warm them up first. The Ritual Defeat full size is $29 per blush. This one was a free gift with purchase. These are the two Fenty ones I have. I have Rose Latte and Fenty Glow, and you can see they're two different shades of like a orangey terracotta brown, right? These are $22 for 3 grams of product. They look tiny, and when you think of it in terms of this, that is 6.5 grams of product and $16, they are tiny. But like this one by Ritual Defeat is $29 for 3.8 grams of product. So, you know, I mean, it's whatever you deem expensive is expensive. These just look Barbie size. They look like they're a travel size blush. They're not. They're a full-size blush, 3 grams, $22, which I don't necessarily think is super expensive. These are super blendable and buildable, and they do play well with most powders and most makeup that you're wearing underneath your blush. What I would say about these, though, is that they're called mistake-proof because their pigmentation is pretty nil. It's a good thing that they're blendable or buildable, because if they weren't, you wouldn't be seeing any kind of any kind of pigmentation out of them. They are categorized as sheer blushes. They have a natural and dewy finish without the stickiness to them, which is something that I love. They are vegan, and they are definitely not a heavy formula, where some, you know, creams can feel quite heavy on your face. These ones don't. What I would say is their downfall is the same as something that is another person might consider their, you know, their win, and that is that they are sheer. They seem like they have no staying power because they're sheer. I also think that the size of the packaging is also a downfall for them because people think there's far less product in these little, I was one of those people that think that there's far less product in these little tiny components, when really it's not much smaller than this one that costs, you know, $9 more. Here we are, a travel size that's got 6 grams of product in it for $15. This is 3 grams for $22. So yeah, maybe it is a little bit expensive, but I think it's expensive according to who, right? All right, so this one is Fenty Glow and this one is Rose Latte. So when we put them on here, this one is Fenty Glow and this one is Rose Latte. So, I mean, Rose Latte does have a lot more pigmentation in it than Fenty Glow does, but you can see they're just kind of more of a sheer formula than some of these other ones here. But they're made to be a buildable, mistake-proof formula. So if you can tend to go ham with your blushes, these are going to be a good sell for you. What I would say is also is they don't have the sticky tackiness to them, which is also something that I really, truly love. Okay, I have only got 5 left. My first one is going to be this one. This is the Rare Beauty Melting Cream Blush in Nearly Mauve. This has 5 grams of product in it, so much bigger than these guys, and it's $21. What I thought was interesting about these guys is they kind of sit in the pan like a patty. It's so weird. They're also really, really soft. Pros to these ones are that they are vegan, they have a satin finish, and they're super easy to use with your fingers, which isn't the case for many of these. You can use your fingers to put this on, blend it out, all the things. It works really well with your fingers. These are blendable, they are buildable, and again, they are mistake proof or a mistake proof formula. With that said, that also means that there's a lack of pigmentation in these that many people like in their blushes. This also works really well with powders. I think the consistency of this is just, and I have this as a con because the consistency weirds me out just a little bit. It's like a patty, but it's so soft. I could stick my finger right down to the bottom of them. The color on these guys, I think, fades really quickly. Close that up. I think that I wasn't able to get much more than like 2 hours of wear time out of this before it melted off my face or faded off my face. And I think that you can see that that color is just really sheer to begin with, right? In addition to that, it's really soft, so it kind of moves around on your face without like really settling into one spot, which is good and bad. Like, I don't want my blush to move around on my face, but because it's so malleable, it plays well with powders. And that's always good. So if you want to put a powder on top of it, you could probably get a lot more wear time out of it. You could definitely get a lot more of it just staying in one place. The color fades rather quickly. I would say 1 to 2 hours tops, and you're seeing some color fade in here, which means that the wear time is also pretty dismal. The texture of the product is very weird. Like I said, super soft, feels like I could stick my finger all the way down into it. More like a mousse than a cream, if that makes any sense, even though it's hard. Once you start warming it up, it feels like a mousse. I think that the pigmentation on these guys is a miss. I think if they had better pigmentation, they'd have a little longer wear time. They do build. It will build. Let me show you. We'll swatch over the top of that again. So it does build, and it builds quite well, right? But I still think it's very like powder-like finish that just kind of floats away. I don't really necessarily know where it goes. It just doesn't stick around. The next thing I have is this, which is the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush, and this is in Plumberry. This is $28 and you are getting 0.37 ounces or 10.56 grams of product, which is a ton of product. This product's pros are that it's vegan, it's got a nice radiant finish, it's dewy without stickiness to it, it blends out really well, the pigmentation is on par, like literally the smallest, tiniest bit will go a very long way for you. It looks very natural on the skin if you use just the tiniest amount. It is a super smooth formula and a very long lasting formula. I would say it lasted a good 7 hours on my face without me feeling like it was gone. I think a lot of that stems from the color of it, honestly. I'm just going to put it right here. So you can see that's very, very creamy, very, very crazy color, right? It blends out really, really nicely. I feel like you could, you know, get a good, decent blend on it without necessarily having to try super, super hard. You could go a lot sheerer than this depending on your application. I like to use a brush over the top of it or a sponge over the top of it. I never put it on my skin just on its own, and I get a really good blend out of it, and I get a really good coloration out of it. If you use too much and don't blend it quick enough, it does look patchy. I think that you guys can see that where my finger was moving across it. There is a straight line there that's got a little deeper color to it. It does stay like that. The packaging does have a brush on the other side. This brush is actually shit. I have 2 of these sticks. That's why this brush isn't used. The other stick is a contour stick. I have used the brush on the contour stick. The brushes are worthless. Also, the brushes make the packaging feel very, very not super sturdy. And I had seen a lot of commentary on the fact that this package actually falls apart rather easily. Mine hasn't. I've not had that problem, but the brush is worthless, honestly. In addition to that, I really hate a package that has a brush on one end and a cream product on the other. Like, that tells you that you need to stamp it on and then use the brush on the other end to like blend it out, and that's absolutely not how you should be using this product. You will get far too much product on your skin if you're just putting it on directly onto your skin. If you go too ham with this, it will look like a bruise. Now granted, mine is in a really deep color, but I saw that in the descriptors for many of the other shades as well. It's just too pigmented. It's solidly too pigmented to go stamping it directly on your face and then try and blend it out with the brush on the other end. So my suggestion is forget that there's even a brush there. Don't even take it apart that way. Use a sponge or a brush on the tip of this and then dab it on the back of your hand, then go onto your face, because otherwise you're going to get far too much product. The cons for this I have are that the brush is awful. And that I hate that it's got the brush on the other side for the reasons that I just mentioned. And the other con that I have to this is a very tiny amount of this will go a very long way. So if you're used to a cream blush like this or a cream blush like this and then buy this one, you're going to hate this product. But this product lasts forever. So this is almost one of my very favorites. But if you go too ham with that one too fast, you could look like you were beaten. Just saying. The next one I have is this, and it is the Natasha Denona Bloom Blush and Glow Palette. And we're talking specifically about this blush here. This is the only blush in this palette. This blush, I remember when I first got this palette was like $55. It came in a BoxyCharm, so it's been in my collection for quite some time now. And I was terrified of that red blush because, oh my God. But I think it's the reason why I now own blushes in this tone in my collection, because I fell in love with it rather quickly. So it's got a really nice like berry tone to it, but it shears out very, very nicely, blends like a dream. And if you don't want it to look that red, that potent, use a sponge on it, and it actually goes and gives you this really beautiful, like more pink tone to it. With that said, I would say that it fades rather quickly though. So go a little bit more ham, bounce over the top of it with like the same, you know, sponge that you used to put your foundation on your face, and it will fade quickly to the exact right tone. Like, I wouldn't say go ham, keep it red if you don't want it to be red. I wouldn't even say that this is the appropriate color. This is probably the color that I would get it to on my face, because within 30 minutes it's going to be faded to a beautiful pink. $55 is way too much for this palette. I would never spend that much on this palette, and I am a Natasha Denona connoisseur. I love Natasha Denona. I would never spend $55 on that. I'm glad I got it in BoxyCharm, because that just seems ridiculous to me. Biggest reason why is because there's just not enough in here. I mean, you have 13.7 grams of product between 4 different products. So that's not even just the blush. Like, when I think that this blush has 6.5 grams in it, which is almost as much as this entire palette, and cost me $16, I think that that's just far too much to pay for 4 little tiny pans of face product in here. I don't think that all of them work either for the same skin tone that this blush is going to work for, right? So there's that. I think that it is glowy without the glitterness to it. I think that you can see that there's a little bit of a radiantness to it. And I think that you could also probably see that it's already starting to fade on my hands. It's very velvety and has a nice satin finish to it. It doesn't stay tacky on your face, which is amazing. And it blends, it truly does blend out very, very well. The cons are that it fades rather fast, and that it is not a blush or a palette that you can use if you don't have a lot of time to really finesse it, because it's a very finicky formula. And I would say that that's probably standard across the board for all of Natasha Denona's products, to be honest. But I would say it's worth the price, but not like worth a single price, but not in this palette. The last two I have are these. One is Patrick Ta, one is Tower 28. We're going to do Tower 28 first. This is the Beach Please cream blush in Power Hour, and it's a nice, like, really terracotta color. It's $20 for this guy, and this guy is 4.5 grams of product, so a really decent amount of product. More product than you're getting in this, which is a $22 product. This is $20. It's a very, very nice blush. So this, for pros, I have that it's a vegan formula, that it's a tinted balm with radiant finish without the stick. Very important to me. It's got great skin ingredients, and it's considered clean beauty. It doesn't take a lot to warm it up in the pan, not like the Ritual Defee where you're like kind of in there for a minute. This one warms up really nicely to your touch almost immediately. But this one also warms up to, I mean, it adheres really nicely to a brush. You don't necessarily have to warm it up and get it emollient to make it work. This is it right here. I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that I have the Serat up here. It has a really nice staying power. This guy stays on my face all day long. Again, I have dry skin. It likes to eat blush. It likes to eat almost everything that I put on my cheeks. This stays pretty much all day. I would say that its cons are that, like the Natasha Denona, if you don't have time to work with this, don't bother with it. It's pretty hard to blend out on your skin. I think that it goes on and it stays. So unless you like are building it, you're going to find that you don't like it very much. It also goes bad rather quickly. I have heard, now I don't know for certain, but I have heard that these go bad in about 5 months. And I can tell you the consistency of mine has already changed, and I've had it approximately 4 months. So it feels a little bit more moussey than it did when I first purchased it, even though it's closed tight the entire time. So I hear that it goes bad really quickly. I feel like it's a little bit harder to blend than a lot of my other ones. I think it ranks right up there with probably Ritual Defee and the Makeup by Mario. So no easier or harder to blend than those two are. And I will tell you also that this one does not play well with powders. So this is a really great formula for like no makeup looks. I found that it moved most everything underneath it if I was putting anything underneath it, including foundation, which kind of sucks. So I like to use it most when I'm using like a tinted moisturizer or something that, you know, a good share of my skin is already peeking through in a tinted moisturizer, because it just looks a little bit more natural that way. The last one I have here is this one, and it is Patrick Ta. Oh, She's Different. And this is one of his double take cream and powder blushes. And so the idea of this is that you put the powder on and then the cream over the top, and it helps longevity purposes. You can see, or at least I think you can see, that I haven't even touched that powder blush except for the big gouge that's in it because I stuck my nail into it one day. These are $34 for the two products that you get. There is 10 grams of total product in here. So this cream blush was the reason why I even got interested in cream blush. I got this, I think I purchased it in a Sephora sale event, and it is buildable, it is blendable, it does not stay tacky on your skin, it looks very natural on your skin, it's very radiant on your skin. You get the two blushes for the price of one. It plays well with powders because it has a powder that goes with it, and technically you're supposed to put the powder on and then the cream over the top of it. It's very natural looking, it's so pigmented, so long lasting. This is the reason why I dove into cream blushes hardcore last year, because I tried this blush and it's the only blush that I had ever used up until that point that I had put on my face at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 12 o'clock at night when I was going to take my makeup off, I could still see the blush on my face. I was like, what? This magic? What is going on? The cons that I have for this is that it's a two-step system. So technically, to get the longest wear time out of it and to not have it stay, you know, kind of sticky on your skin, you're supposed to put the powder down and then the cream over the top of it. So do you have time for a two-step system? That I would put as a con, because that's how most people get this and use it. I mean, per the instructions of the artist, right? I only use, like I said, the cream blush in this. I've never used the powder blush, although I do believe that the powder blush would probably be beautiful. I've never used it. So you don't have to use it in a two-step system. The packaging to this is stupid. Like, it always takes me forever to figure out that I need to lift it from the lip and not from the top. I don't know why. Also, this little door, it doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't really stay closed. So, like with the Natasha Denona one, the only thing that I like better about this one is the door on this one stays closed. The Patrick Ta one doesn't. So if it opens and you get powder in the blush, in the cream, that's kind of a pain in the ass, right? I also believe that this isn't really true to pan. You guys can see how like kind of red this is, and in the pan it looks more like deep. It looks, in my opinion, it looks more plum, but in the camera I'm a big fatty liar. So anyways, those are my blushes. You guys tell me what you guys think about them. I do think that I could probably get rid of that Wander Beauty blush because I have the LYS blush that looks almost the exact same. I also feel like there's some opportunity down here for me to get rid of some of those blushes, but I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys let me know. I hope that you enjoyed walking through my blushes with me that are of the cream version, and let me know what kind of cream blushes you have in your stash, if you love your cream blushes and which one you like the most. I would say if I had to rank them, like I would go Patrick Ta. I love Patrick Ta. I would probably go Ritual de Fille. Then I would probably go Natasha Denona. Then I would probably go, I don't know, Tower 28. I think that Natasha Denona and Tower 28 could be like interchangeable, to be honest. I think I would probably go LYS, then Makeup by Mario, then Rare Beauty, then Fenty. I think that these actually could be interchangeable. Then Milk Makeup, then Wander Beauty, then the CoverGirl. And the CoverGirl is simply because, I mean, look at that. It looks like it could be a highlighter. So I think that that's the order that I would put them in. What order would you put them in? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do hope that you had a good time. I hope that you liked this video, and I hope that if you did, you're considering giving it a thumbs up. I also, like I said at the beginning, hope that you'll want to subscribe before you go. I hope that April is treating you all kindly. By the time you're seeing this, I will be at conference. I do believe I will be at conference in San Antonio. So I hope that when I come back, I'll have lots of stuff to share with you guys as far as products and all this stuff. But I also hope to be a tanned goddess. I love you guys so much. I hope that April is treating you all kindly. I hope that you and yours are healthy, that you're well, that you're staying safe, that you are getting along as best you can in this crazy world that we're living in right now. I hope that you all are loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time, bye friends.